Part 1. Picture this. It's 3 p.m. You're picking up your kid from daycare, you ask about their day, and they tell you they watched Singing Vegetables. Singing Vegetables about God. Now, most parents would shrug it off. Maybe roll their eyes, but not this dad. Oh no, this dad went full scorched earth. Coalition building, career-destroying, all-out war over a cartoon tomato. Welcome to Cross the Line, the channel where we break down the messiest real-life situations and you decide who went too far. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We drop stories twice a week that'll make you question everything. Now, let's talk about the VeggieTales war. So here's our guy. Let's call him Mark. 31 years old, father of a young son, works a regular job, has to use daycare because life, bills don't pay themselves. Now Mark has one very specific parenting rule: no VeggieTales. If you've never heard of it, VeggieTales is a children's show from the 90s. Animated vegetables, tomatoes, cucumbers, they sing songs, they tell Bible stories. It's Christian educational content. Harmless, right? Well, not to Mark. Mark doesn't want his kid watching religious programming at daycare. His reasoning? That's his call to make as a parent. Fair enough. Daycare is supposed to be secular. Neutral ground. You drop your kid off, they learn colors and shapes, nobody pushes any agenda. That's the deal, at least. That's what Mark thought the deal was. A few months back, Mark picks up his son. Casual conversation. What did you do today? Kid mentions a show with cartoon vegetables. Mark freezes. Cartoon vegetables? Singing? His brain connects the dots immediately. VeggieTales, in his son's secular daycare. His rule being ignored. Now most parents at this point might think, okay, mistake, one-time thing, let it go. But Mark doesn't let things go, Mark investigates. The next morning, he confronts the teacher. Let's call her Sarah, 20-something. Probably makes minimum wage. Definitely didn't expect this conversation. Mark asks directly. Did you show my son VeggieTales? Sarah dodges. She says they didn't show anything inappropriate. Mark presses. But did you show VeggieTales specifically? Sarah won't give a straight answer. Red flag number 1. Mark lays down the law. I don't want him watching VeggieTales. Sarah's response? Defensive. She says the kids won't be allowed to watch anything inappropriate. Notice what she did there. She didn't say, okay, no VeggieTales. She said nothing inappropriate. As if Mark's request was the unreasonable one. As if he was overreacting. This is where the tension starts building. This is where both sides dig in. Mark goes home, does his research, asks his son again. Did you watch VeggieTales? Kid says yes. Confirmation. Mark doesn't sleep on it. He emails the administration that same day. The response comes fast, reassuring, professional. No VeggieTales, it is not approved media. It has never been shown, it will never be shown. Case closed, right? Wrong. Because Mark is a dad who checks, a dad who verifies. The next week he asks again. Did you watch VeggieTales? His son, innocent, honest, says, yep, they watched it. Mark's blood pressure probably hit the roof. He reaches out to administration again. This time, their tone shifts. Maybe your son is confused, they suggest. Maybe he's mixing up shows. Maybe he's imagining things. Right. Because 4-year-olds are famous for inventing detailed stories about specific 90s Christian cartoons. Mark knows what he knows. His son isn't confused. The daycare is lying. And here's where Mark makes his first real move. He doesn't confront the teacher again. He doesn't send another email. He goes tactical. He asks his boss to leave work early. He drives to the daycare. He walks past the receptionist. She tells him to stop. He doesn't stop. He barges into the main room, and there it is on the screen, VeggieTales. Singing vegetables in glorious, high-definition, undeniable reality. Mark pulls out his phone. He takes a picture. Evidence secured. The administration gives him a warning for barging in. Fair, he admits. But they also promise this time, for real, the VeggieTales situation will be solved. The teacher has to take all her tapes home. She's banned from bringing in any outside media. Victory, right? Mark thinks so. He asks his son the next week. Did you watch VeggieTales? Finally, the answer he wants. No, Dad, relief, but Mark doesn't stop checking, because Mark knows people lie. The following week, he asks again. Did you watch VeggieTales? And his son, with the innocence of childhood, says, yep, again, they watched it again. At this point, Mark isn't just frustrated, he's activated, he's mobilized. He starts emailing other parents, building alliances, forming what he calls the Anti-VeggieTales Coalition, and here's where it gets interesting. Other parents join, even Christian parents. One mom watches VeggieTales at home with her daughter, but she doesn't want the teacher answering religious questions. She wants to be the one explaining. She joins the coalition. Mark isn't alone anymore. He has power. He has numbers. He has a movement. The pressure works. The administration caves. Sarah, the teacher, gets fired, terminated, over VeggieTales, over singing vegetables. Her career, her income, her stability, gone because a parent couldn't accept no for an answer, because she kept lying, because everyone dug in and nobody compromised. Now here's where the story turns, because Mark expects celebration. He expects vindication. He expects other parents to thank him for protecting their children. Instead, backlash. People feel bad for Sarah. She was young. She was probably just trying to entertain the kids. It was just cartoons, animated vegetables. How could anyone lose their job over that? Even Mark's wife turns on him. She says he pulled a Mark. Went on the warpath, couldn't let it go, had to win. And Mark is sitting there, stunned, wondering how he became the villain. He just wanted his parenting choices respected. He just wanted the daycare to follow their own rules. He built a coalition. He gathered evidence. He did everything right. And now he's the bad guy. The crazy dad who got someone fired over a tomato. This is what happens when you cross the line, when winning becomes more important than the cost. When principle becomes obsession. Both sides lost here. Sarah lost her job. Mark lost his reputation. The daycare lost trust. And those kids, they lost a teacher who probably cared about them, even if she made mistakes. So I want to hear from you. Was Mark right to fight this hard? Or did he become exactly what his wife accused him of becoming? Drop your verdict in the comments. And if you want more stories about parents, principles, and the moments everything goes wrong, subscribe to Cross the Line. We post twice a week, and trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next. Hit that notification bell so you know when we drop. Check out our last video about the backseat fight that destroyed a marriage, link in the description. Until next time, think before you go to war, even over vegetables.